So you just got done watching the fights. The kids are asleep. The wife's in the other room doing, well, what wives do.
Am I the only one that does a goddamn thing around here? How hard is it to pick up after yourself?
So decision time. You could either go in the other room and deal with...
After all I've done today, you expect me to wanna...
Or keep it locked right here, because it's time for the Billy C. Post-Fight Wrap-Up on the BillyCBoxing.com network. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Billy C.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C. Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Terence Crawford, Viktor Postol post-fight show. The fight just ended on HBO's pay-per-view. The fight was coming to us live from Las Vegas, the MGM. And, as I thought, Terence Crawford won the fight pretty easily. The official scores were 118-107 twice, 117-108 in favor of Terence Crawford. I myself scored the fight 118-107 in favor of Crawford. My initial thought is, kudos to Terence Crawford. I felt that he could have pulled the trigger a little more. I felt that Viktor Postol was just chasing him around the ring. Obviously didn't have the wherewithal to cut the ring off and force the action. I thought that Terence Crawford, just like, as a matter of fact, I agree with what Harold Letterman had said. It seemed like Terence Crawford could have stopped this fight at any time, stopped his opponent at any time, but he did not. He played it safe, but hey, he did what he had to do to win, and a win is a win, and he's going to move on to bigger and better things. Rumor has it that he may be the front runner for the Manny Pacquiao sweepstakes coming up in November. I will say this, and I know this isn't a time to talk about Triple G, but here's the thing about Triple G, and I always say this on the Billy C. Morning Show. Triple G has the ability, and I honestly think it's the tops in the sport of boxing over the last 20 years to control the ring, to be a ring general. Ring generalship is what we always talk about. And when you look at a fighter and look at what Terence Crawford was doing today to Viktor Postol, I'm convinced that a fighter like Triple G would have forced the action a little more. But hey, what are you going to do? I will say this. For $60, that was not worth a pay-per-view. And I'm not just criticizing the Terence Crawford-Viktor Postol fight, because I'm not. Terence Crawford is one of my favorite young fighters of today. But overall, another example, in my opinion, of how boxing seems to fleece boxing fans. But speaking of boxing, joining me right now is Sal Rocky Senecola. Sal, what'd you think of the fight, man?
Bill, hey, man, I concur with you on so many levels here. I think we must eat the same food, too. But I'll tell you what, like I said, it was a good fight, not a great fight, but it was a good fight. Crawford did what he had to do. He was very dominant after the third round. And I think that he, for whatever reason, I don't know why he didn't want to mix it up or stay in a pocket. I thought he showed Postol a little too much respect on some levels, but and I was a little bit, I couldn't believe that Postol, with the experience that he's had, the guy was clueless. He didn't know how to cut off a ring on a fighter. He was just chasing Crawford all over the ring.
Well, I think one thing, the movement for Terence Crawford neutralized the height and reach advantage. I think the game plan from Viktor Postol had to be to establish his jab and take advantage of his height and reach. And credit to Terence Crawford and his team for neutralizing that. But I don't know who said it, and I try not to listen to the commentators during these fights because they're so biased. But somebody said that he didn't have a plan B, and I think I think they were
You know
right.
what? I heard the same thing, and I'm saying that was how can I say it? That was spot on.
Yeah, it was.
It
You know,
was-
I
it's
mean,
true.
it was. It seemed like there wasn't a plan B. But I don't know if you saw the other fights, but real quick, Tommy.
I saw the Valdez fight, and what an explosive 2 rounds that was. But go ahead, Billy, take it over.
Yeah, Godzik stopped Tommy Carpenter 2 minutes and 21 seconds of the 6th round, getting the TKO. Francisco Santana tried to take on Jose Benavidez Jr. Jose Benavidez Jr. Won that fight by unanimous decision, 100-90, 96-94, 98-92. I personally thought that the fight was around that 96-94 score. The one judge, 100-90, was kind of crazy. And the fight that Sal just mentioned, Oscar Valdez, improved to 20-0 with 17 knockouts when he pretty much destroyed Matias Rudilla. He won by a second round stoppage, 2 minutes and 18 seconds of that one. But we'd like to talk about the Terence Crawford Viktor Postol fight. Sal's going to stick around with me. The phone line is open. Give us a call, 845-228-8710, 845-228-8710. What did you think about the Terence Crawford Viktor Postol fight? And Sal, I was impressed with the fact that it was a pretty big crowd there at the MGM in Vegas, which means that it was a hot ticket. I'm still curious to know what the pay-per-view numbers did, man.
You and me both. We had the under and over 150,000. We'll see. That's the number.
What was it? 100. What did you say?
We're
The
going to look at
150.
it's going to be over 150,000 buys.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't think it's going to be. I like I said, if it does 150,000, it's good. But we got. I think Joel on the line. Is this you, Joel?
Hey, what's up? It is me.
Hey, what's your thoughts of the fight, real
Joel,
quick?
how you doing?
We got other people calling in, so I want to try and get your thoughts, and we'll get to the other callers. What'd you think?
I have to disagree. I thought Crawford fought smart. I didn't think it was, that bad of. I didn't think it was that bad of a fight. He fought a bigger guy. He definitely, he fought. Not to, he didn't want to take too many chances. But I tell you, Postol looked very conventional, very stationary. After he couldn't catch Crawford, the first couple rounds, he just looked like a punching bag. The rest of the fight.
He neutralized him with his movement.
Well, I don't know if I'd say a punching bag. I mean, Crawford
he
wasn't
neutralized him, though.
Yeah,
he didn't get him off. He couldn't start his plan. He
didn't have plan B.
know how to get started.
He didn't have a second. He didn't have a plan B. And Crawford won the fight. And listen, I love Terence Crawford.
Me too.
But as far as I don't think he battered Viktor Postol by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he, like they're saying, he gave him an ass whipping. I don't think anything close to that. He won the fight, and he won the fight unanimously. But listen, it's hard to fight a guy that has that much height and reach advantage, and I think that Terence Crawford and honestly, I thought the 12th round was the most exciting round of the fight when Viktor Postol just kind of went balls to the wall and did what he had to do. But I'm glad to see that you bought the fight, Joel, or did you get it another way?
I did not buy the fight. I did not.
Oh, you buy these other fights that have nobody that's ever heard of, and you don't buy the.
Yeah,
Terence
I didn't
Crawford.
buy this one, but I did watch it.
That's good. That's good. So overall,
I just want to quickly state. Did you hear Holly Holm lost tonight?
I saw that she was fighting, and I did not see that she lost. I was paying pretty much attention to this event.
Yeah, she lost the decision, but we'll talk about that further.
That's two in a row for her now. But anyway.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I saw an interview with her. But anyway, Joel, we'll look forward to you on Monday, my man.
Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the night. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Take care.
All right,
Joel,
take
care. Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, Sal. I mean, I think that phone line is open. I know a lot of people were trying to call in. We're going to take one caller at a time. 845-228-8710. I don't know. From a what else should he have done perspective, more like what he did in the 12th round, Viktor Postol I'm talking about. Try to make it a firefight, even though Terence Crawford's strength is his counterpunching ability and the fact that he's accurate. I just, he does seem to give up those first few rounds all the time. It didn't overall through the length of the career of Arthur Abraham. It didn't work for him. But anyway, we got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Dax Khan, and I'm calling from my living room.
Hey, Dax, what's up, man?
How you doing?
I didn't recognize the number. What'd you think of the fight, man?
It was a good fight.
Good fight, not great, but it was a good fight.
Right. It really showed the level that Terence Crawford was at. The whole card itself wasn't bad. I just wish instead of breaking it up into those fights that they showed on the YouTube channel, that they would have included everything into the pay-per-view, and that would actually made it worth it. But as far as, people are very counterproductive in the way they talk. All the time I was talking about social media, and, these people in one tweet or one Facebook post, they're talking about how great of a performance that Terence Crawford's putting on, but then in the very next tweet or the very next Facebook post, they're talking about how Viktor Postol really isn't a world-class fighter. It's like, aren't you being a little bit counterproductive right there? You're pretty much just saying that Terence Crawford is out there beating a walkover opponent, and that Viktor Postol is really nothing special. But, this was a great fight. Terence Crawford just did exactly what was already stated. He just showed that he really is more than just a fighter on the rise. He is genuinely one of the top 5 fighters in the world, maybe even the top 3. Nothing more you can say, and I think Viktor Postol is going to be back. And the second I seen Freddie Roach holding up those tickets that he bet that $1,000 on Viktor Postol, I knew it was over right there. And the fact that Postol came out to Tina Turner's Simply the Best, for some reason all of Freddie Roach's fighters come out to these weird songs. Manny Pacquiao comes out to Katy Perry, and they lose. So it was I blame Freddie Roach for all of it.
You're onto something.
Well, I tell you, Dax, I don't know. The pay-per-views generally are the main event. That's what people are paying for. I hear what you're saying about some of the other fights on the undercard. But as far as the pay-per-view card itself, which was offered, I didn't think it was worth the money. Even the Terence Crawford fight, even me being a big fan, as far as some of the fans saying that he wasn't a real world caliber fighter, I think that his lack of experience with different types of fighters, it's what we talk about on the show all the time. He didn't know what to do. He didn't have a plan B. I think that's the best way to put it. He didn't have a plan B, and it clearly showed, in my opinion.
Oh, it definitely did. It definitely did, without question. But even guys like Lou DiBello are out there saying, well, I gave him too much credit for the Lucas Matisse win. And that may be true, but Viktor Postol is definitely a world-class fighter, not a pound-for-pound, but he is a world-class fighter. And the last time we had a WBO and WBC Unification 140-pound championship fight between 2 undefeated fighters was Timothy Bradley and Devin Alexander. We've seen exactly where Bradley's career went. We've seen where Alexander's career went. So it's going to be interesting to see, does Terence Crawford continue to rise and remain along that pound-for-pound best? And does Viktor Postol kind of just linger around as a top 10 guy, but never manages to climb back to the status he once was before this fight? So that's what I'm going to be looking out for now. My biggest disappointment for the evening most likely would have to be the performance that Alexander Vazdik put on against Tommy Kopensky. I was really looking forward to that. And Ryota Maruda, he's definitely impressed me tonight, and he's definitely somebody that the 168-pounder should keep an eye out for, even if it was just, the Comanche boy. He looked great out there. And the kid from Australia, Leonard Zappa, his win over Eat Gang was definitely entertaining as well. But, Bill, before I go, you're right. It wasn't really a pay-per-view worthy event, but it would have been one hell of an HBO card. I'll tell you, if in the future, as we spoke about before, this is the type of thing where they should have put on a few cars like this, built up the anticipation, and then down the road, Terence Crawford would be a pay-per-view star. I'm interested to find out what the numbers are.
Yeah, you just took the words right out of my mouth,
Yeah,
man.
hopefully
I'm
by
really
Monday.
interested in seeing what those numbers are. But Dax, thanks for your thoughts. We got a bunch of people trying to call in, and we're gonna get to those calls right now. So Dax, I'll talk to you on Monday, my man.
Absolutely. Speak to everybody Monday morning. Enjoy your night.
All right,
Take care, Dax. Thank
Dax
you.
Khan, you can check out his column up on BillyCBoxing.com, and I think he hit it on the head. 845-228-8710. I know a lot of people have been calling. We're going to take one caller at a time, so now's the time to call back. I think he hit it on the head, Sal. I think that if this whole card was on regular HBO or I hate to even say, even like ESPN, that would have been great. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Well, we got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Billy? This is Joey from Indiana, man.
Joey from Indiana, man. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, good. Hey, guys, I just want to, real quick, Bill, I download your podcast all the time, so I listen to you and Sal every morning, so I was excited to finally get a chance to call in and listen to and talk with you guys. But I'll get started, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm a huge boxing fan, and I try to stay positive about the sport, but I feel a little gypped off tonight. Just, forking out the $70 to $60 for the pay-per-view, and just, the main event to me just didn't live up. This is me. I attended the Thurman Porter fight, first time ever coming to Brooklyn, and just coming off that boxing high and the atmosphere of that fight, and people saying that this fight was going to live up to that or even surpass that. I guess my expectations were a little too high, but I guess I can't fault. Like you said it, man. Postol just didn't have a plan B. I mean, Crawford basically did what he wanted in that ring, and I think Sal mentioned it or somebody mentioned it. It's just, I guess styles make fights, and I don't know. I feel a little. I don't know, man. I don't know if Freddie, if something went wrong in the camp, they didn't have a backup plan, but Crawford just looked way superior than Postol tonight.
Height differences make a big impact on a fight, and if a fighter isn't used to fighting a taller guy, or in Postol's case, maybe he didn't have that much experience fighting shorter southpaw fighters. Crawford was fighting in the southpaw stance. It shows. We talk about it on the show all the time about how young fighters are moved, and I'm not suggesting that Viktor Postol is a young fighter because he had an extensive amateur career, but there was something definitely obvious that he didn't do anything different. It was like Groundhog Day. It was the same round after round after round, and you do give credit to Terence Crawford because he was calm, cool, and collective, and he did what he had to do to win. But I totally agree with you. I wish, and I was expecting a little more fireworks in this fight, similar to what we saw in the final round.
Yes, Hey, is Sal on the line?
Yes,
I am, sure am. Thank you. How are you?
Sal, a real quick story, man. When I thought your pizza joint was in New York City. So when I went out to New York, I was Googling it, and I was like, man, where's this guy's pizza place at? And it's over there. It's in Georgia, right?
Yes, sir. It sure
is. I was
is.
like, oh, man, I came to the wrong place. But no, Sal, let me ask you, because I know you're a former fighter. If you were in Postol's corner, what adjustments would you have made for him or told him? Like, what game plan would you have done for him, to switch it up later in the later rounds?
Well, it's so funny you should say that, because I look at each fighter and I see how each fighter would have to change up or do what they would need to do to win. And I probably would be very good in the corner. And I would have told Postol, I'd say, hey, look, you got to get onto this guy. You got to cut the ring off on him. Don't just throw that jab out there lackadaisical. Do it with authority, double it up, and then let that right hand fly. If you are not going to let the right hand fly, don't be afraid to get hit. If you're afraid to get hit, you're afraid to punch. You're afraid to have exchange. Then you shouldn't be in the ring fighting. I could see him being careful. He was a little too cautious, a little too tentative in his punches. And sure, styles do make fights. That's my favorite coined phrase. and they do. And this style tonight, I thought Crawford would have stayed in the pocket a little bit and take the fight to him. But he fought a brilliant fight, Crawford. He fought a good fight to do what he had to do to win. He went the distance. He looked good. He was in condition, and he was more accurate with his punches. But Postol definitely should have doubled up on that jab, move forward, but move forward with conviction and follow that jab, boom, with that right hand, and come back with a hook. He had to throw combinations. Even if he was missing, at least he would have been busy. And if he got that set and looked to throw those punches, he could eventually have tried to have shown that he's there not to just be countered and coming forward. Because the guy was clueless when it came to cutting the ring off.
Yeah, well, that's where it starts. You know, you could say double up the jab, triple up the jab. You could say all of that, but until he could cut off the ring to put the guy where he wanted, the guy being Terence Crawford, he's punching air like he was doing.
He's punching air. That's true, Billy. But you know what? He kept that freaking right hand cocked all night like it was a deadly weapon, like he was just waiting to dump it. That's the way. Go move forward, double up with that jab, time it, place it, look at it, and then wham, let the right hand fly.
Yeah, well, that's that European style.
Trying to say this is what he should have done a little bit more effectively than just looking like he was going to follow the guy around like a puppy dog.
Yeah, well, that's what he ended up doing. So,
hey, Sal, you sound like you're ready to get in the gym tonight and start training.
Man, I am. Hey, I'm always one fight away from a comeback. I love boxing. I'm a purist when it comes to boxing. I would go back in the ring tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you can't. Hey, Joey, you got any final thoughts? We got a lot of people.
Yeah. I know you got a whole bunch of calls. Real quick before I get off, Mr. Bill, just give me your thoughts on Santana and Valdez. I felt Santana did enough for maybe a draw, man. I love this performance. He kept coming. I just felt like those scorecards are kind of off. But, Mr. Bill, I'll try to keep you only accept calls on Fridays, right? For
sometimes we open up the calls. I tell you, I liked. I vote for Santana. His wife was pretty hot, but I tell you, I tell you what happened to him. I tell you what happened to him. He was more active. His hands were going, but his accuracy, I think, did him in. I agree with you. I probably would have leaned towards him. I didn't score that fight, but I was a little surprised at that one score that pretty much gave every round, the opposite way to Santana. I thought it was a close fight. I wouldn't have even argued at a draw. But on my card, even though I didn't score it, I probably would have leaned towards Santana.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. You guys take care. Thanks for taking my call. And I'm definitely downloading, Bill. You guys are on Eastern time, so when you start in the morning, it's still like 6 in the morning here. I'm going to try to get up at least on Friday so I can call in on Fan-Driven Fridays.
Sounds good, my man.
You guys take care. Sal, good talking with you, too.
Joey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Take care, buddy.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right, take care. Joey from Indiana, giving us a call. Listen to us on the podcast. That's good stuff. But, the bottom line, Sal, is this. 845, I keep forgetting, 845-228-8710. Phone line is open. I know a lot of other people were trying to call in. We're going to take one at a time. Listen, I don't want to get on a knocking Terence Crawford thing because he did fine. He did fine. But I think that the problem really was, and on the other hand, just like Dax is saying, people are saying, Viktor Postol, he's exposed. He wasn't a top fighter, which I also think is BS. I think it was a clear indication of lack of experience in knowing how to cut the ring off and fighting opponents similar to Crawford, and maybe Freddie Roach didn't prepare him correctly with getting him the right sparring and everything else. They had plenty of time to prepare for the fight.
I'll talk to you off the record about that, but it's crazy. I understand, but Terence Crawford's a great fighter. He's a top champion. I love him. He does it all. He has it all, and like I said, he just tonight. You know what? Maybe he just wanted to prime himself and get ready and look at, what might happen with the Pacquiao in the distance coming up. Maybe, who knows?
Well, I tell you right now, he's not going to have to run around. Well, if he does run around like that against Pacquiao, the big question will be the same: can Pacquiao cut the ring off?
Pacquiao. I'll tell you what. I don't want to say this because it doesn't warrant.
But here it comes. He's going to say it. He said he wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Pacquiao looked so inept when he tried to take on Mayweather. I said the word.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Mayweather. I don't even want to. Yeah, forget it. Let's not even talk about Mayweather.
But I'll tell you what. I'm going to take Crawford over Pacquiao if they fight.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Crawford has ever been in there with a guy with hand speed like Pacquiao, but we'll have to wait and see. First of all, we don't even know
what. We're thinking about the Pacquiao 5-6 years ago.
No, I'm thinking about the same Pacquiao that beat the crap out of Timothy Bradley recently. So I mean, Manny Pacquiao looked pretty good against Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley's a pound for pound fighter. I think Terence Crawford might have moved himself in there. 845-228-8710. Phone line is open. The fight you liked, and the fight I think I liked the best on this card was the Oscar Valdez, Matias Rudia fight. Valdez wins a title and ended up being for the vacant WBO featherweight title. He's now 20-0 with 18 knockouts. Takes care of business. Second round stoppage, 2 minutes and 18 seconds at the undefeated Rudia, who seemed like a deer in headlights, didn't he? He's the guy with 26 fights, and there's no way he fought anybody the caliber of Valdez, and Valdez is still a work in progress, really.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm an instant Valdez fan, and because he, let me tell you, the first round, the first couple of seconds of the first round, these guys weren't afraid. They didn't have to go look for each other. They were in the middle. They stopped. They threw punches. They blocked. They looked at what they could do, and Valdez figured out Matias faster than I expected, but he was so effective with placing his punches. He found a body shot, that left hook to the body, and it really caught the attention of Valdez, of Matias. And I'll tell you what, he did a masterful dismantling of his opponent by some body shots and just landing some good clean hooks and rights. And I'll tell you what, it was beautiful. I'm an instant Valdez fan. I'm telling you what, this guy is going to be around, and we're going to hear a lot of big things from him.
Well, the thing is he's been doing this type of thing, since he busted onto the pro scene, but not on the big stage and not against what I thought was a step up in competition for him. I like fighters that don't mess around. They were giving Terence Crawford a lot of credit for feeling him out and getting to know. What are you doing? Breaking
Sorry,
wood?
I was looking over my notes.
I
forgot this microphone's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think that I like fighters that take care of business. Like what I was starting to say about Terence Crawford was, to give up those first couple of rounds sometimes. May not be smart, especially, those first couple of rounds. You could have argued. I mean, obviously, everyone picked Crawford on the scorecards, but those first 3 rounds were kind of close. I mean, I gave
Postol 2 of those 3 rounds.
Yeah, I was really torn on the
and those were the only 2.
Well, round 2. The first round I gave to Postol.
I gave
round 2. Really was a flip of a coin.
I gave it to Crawford, but
I'll be honest. I was leaning towards Postol, and I was my decision was coaxed along by my man Harold Letterman. When he was my deciding factor, and then from that point on, I was like, well, I can't do this.
Harold's a master.
But anyway, 845-228-8710. Phone line is open. And we're taking calls. What's your thoughts? Terence Crawford's win, unanimous 12-round decision win over Viktor Postol. He's now the WBO and WBC World Junior Welterweight titleist. Rumor has it that he is the front runner to fight Manny Pacquiao in November. I don't know if I really like that fight. I mean, I don't know who else they would put in there with Pacquiao, but I don't know if I really like that fight, to be honest with you, Sal.
Yeah, I'm not overly warm and fuzzy about that myself. I really not. I think there's a few opponents that Pacquiao can get in the ring with, but Like I said, I'm no longer a big Pacquiao fan, Bill. I'm sorry.
Well, listen, I don't like when fighters make excuses, and I'm not saying
No, and that's bingo.
I'm
You
not
hit it
saying
right there.
I'm not saying I'm a big fan of his. I'm just saying, who's he going to fight, and
Right.
and I give him credit for fighting, a relevant fighter, and
I know.
if he does step in the ring with Terence Crawford, that's going to be pretty impressive for Manny Pacquiao. To be, continuing to challenge himself. One thing I found interesting is they both weighed in. Terence Crawford and Viktor Postol both weighed in for the junior welterweight limit with no problems. And fight night tonight, of course, Terence Crawford weighed 157 pounds. Which,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he weighed in 157. Viktor Postol weighed 152. So that tells us, people were concerned about him jumping up the weight classes because remember he started fighting in lightweight. So I think he's handling it pretty well. One other thing I wanted to ask you: what did you think about the stat that Viktor Postol? This happened to have been going into tonight's fight. Happened to have been his only second world title fight. Obviously, he won the first one and won his title. This being the second one, so his record's 1-1. Did that have anything to do with the outcome of the fight?
No, I mean, no. The outcome of the fight was predicated on just his inability to learn or to adjust and make the adjustments. Like we have noted, there's another fighter that you don't like me to mention, but he likes to give away a round or two so he can assess and see what he needs to do to make the style nullify his opponent's arsenal or assets, and that's when he takes over the fight. You know what I'm talking about. Well, you know what? The same thing could be said with what we saw Crawford do tonight. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but guess what? It's been effective for him. If he gives away the first or second round, he at least sees exactly how he can change his style, and that's what happened tonight. Crawford was smart enough to make anything he needed to do to adapt to fit the style that he was fighting against Postol once he figured him out. But Postol wasn't smart enough to adapt his style on where Crawford adapted to. So, in other words, you know what I'm saying. Postol couldn't make the changes necessary to make it an even interesting fight and to put him in the fight. Crawford made the one adjustment, the two adjustments, and he could calculate, and if he needed to do 3 or 4 adjustments, he probably could do so because he's a smart fighter. He's got the skills. He's got the ring generalship.
Well, I thought he had Freddie Roach in his corner too. The guy that everybody says is such a great trainer.
That's what I said. We'll talk off the record.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, here's a guy. Here's a guy that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be
Freddie Roach was a good fighter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
who's in a fight? Freddie Roach or the fighter?
But what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is that Freddie Roach is supposed to be making the adjustments for the fighter.
I know.
They're supposed to be going. He's supposed. Now, here's a thing in Freddie Roach's defense, which I think is an issue today in the sport. Freddie Roach is explaining to his fighter what he wants him to do, but if you noticed, there had to be an interpreter there to tell the fighter what Freddie Roach said. So you know as well as I do with any language going from one to the other, there's some translation lost. So is the fighter getting the right instruction? Is he getting it in the right order? All of that stuff, And listen, it was obvious that the kid didn't make any adjustments tonight, and I'm not taking anything away from Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford won the fight the way he was supposed to. I would have liked to have seen him engage a little more. I think the excitement level should have been a couple of notches higher. The name that you're trying to slip in, that I don't want to talk about that clown. That one thing I like about Terence Crawford versus the clown is the fact that Terence Crawford does exchange. He doesn't run all night and stay running, but tonight he ran a lot. He put a lot of mileage on those new boxing shoes.
That's what surprised me, Bill. The Terence Crawford that I've seen in the past is more engaging. And when he has an opponent hurt, he finishes him off with accurate punches delivered with purpose. And I didn't see him. Like I said, maybe he wanted to fight a safe fight for some other reason tonight. And credit to him, kudos to him. I think he's a great, complete fighter. I'm a big fan. I will see him fight, and I'll see him, and I'll want him to win. But like I said, tonight I thought he could have been a little more engaging, stay in the pocket, and then I thought he could have finished off Postal a few times. That he had him in trouble, but I didn't see that explosive necessity or urgency to do so. So we don't know what's going on in the mechanics of a fighter's mind, except the fighter at the time that he's in the ring. So maybe we'll hear about it after the fact. But I expected a little different fight, but I like you said earlier, a win is a win, and he did a good job, and he's unharmed from it. So
Well,
it's a win.
the bottom line is, I mean, in all due respect to Terence Crawford, this was actually only his fourth fight in a junior welterweight division. But I agree. I think that he should have been more engaging. He was showing a lot of respect for Viktor Postol. I just felt that early in the fight, it just seemed that his movement, it was obvious that his movement was giving Postol all kinds of trouble. Why wouldn't he just fake the movement? He was, like move around and then come forward and land some punches, just like he did in the 12th round. But then again, in the 12th round, Viktor Postol was in attack mode too. He was fighting very cautious. They seem to both be respecting each other's power. But Terence Crawford usually, and you're right, he's a great finisher. He didn't finish it tonight, but he got the win, and this should open up the doors for some great things for Terence Crawford.
Absolutely, and I hope it does. I know it will. He's a great fighter.
And as far as Oscar Valdez, I'm looking forward to his next fight. He's now a world champion.
He is.
And he's an exciting fighter. I could see him being worth some money down the road, meaning money from us, the fans.
Yeah. Let me tell you, talk about staying in the pocket and firing your guns. This guy, what he did in 2 rounds was just so complete, so good. He just did what he had to do. He picked the shots, too. He just didn't throw them like a swarming style. He knew where he was going to deliver the fight, the punches, and he did them right.
Well, he also, in that short time,
he took some shots.
In that short time, he worked upstairs and downstairs, and that's something that I thought that Terence Crawford should have done a little more of. He had so much body to work on with Viktor Postol, and when he got in close, it seemed Viktor Postol really didn't know how to, or maybe he couldn't because his arms were so long, but he didn't really he wasn't effective. And I thought that maybe Terence Crawford should have worked the body a little more, slow Postol down. But then again, it wasn't him that was running; it was him following. So who knows what the game plan was? The corner kept telling Terence Crawford, "Keep doing what you're doing." So maybe that was their game plan. Keep moving around.
I'll tell you what, Bill. I'm going to go on the record saying this, and I hope I don't get too many enemies. But hey, when we were talking about the fight, and I made the decision, I didn't waffle. I was adamant for once. I said that Terence Crawford is going to beat Postol. I told you that.
Yeah, I recall that.
Recall that. No, it came to the deciding factor. I mean, I felt in my heart of hearts he was going to do what he did, and he did it. But when I looked at the tail of the tape and I looked at these guys in the press conference standing side by side, now don't just laugh, but I could assess, being a fighter, I see what some of the vulnerabilities. Viktor Postol has a pencil neck. It's long, it's thin, which means his head is wobbling up there like a bobbing and weaving. And I knew this guy was not going to be able to take a good shot once Crawford landed it. And I mean, his neck, you got a fighter that could take a good punch, has a good, solid, thick neck that's usually shorter to the base of the shoulder, and the stem is shorter there too, and he could absorb a lot of punishment. I saw his neck long, thin, and lean, and I said, this guy's head is going to bob up and down. He's going to get rocked, and his brain's not going to be able to be clear enough to keep in the fight. So that's when I decided that this guy's going to definitely get beat by Crawford.
So in other words, he kind of had a neck similar to the turkey that ran in your backyard this morning. Is that what you're saying?
You heard that, didn't you? You know what? Wait till you see what I do for Thanksgiving this year.
Well, I tell you, I agree with you. It is one thing. I remember when I fought as an amateur, my trainer said, "Your neck is a shock absorber. You got to work on your neck," and that was one thing. And the other important body part is your legs, man.
Your legs. He's got thin legs. He's too lean.
But he's tall. He's real tall.
He's tall and thin. His legs at times, you saw how he was off balance and he was wobbly because he got hit. He had the thin neck leading to the big head as the target, taking the wobbly effect with the punches, and it affected his thin legs.
So in other words, would you refer to him as a pencil neck geek?
I was going to go that far, Bill.
You remember him from the wrestling, right? He's a pencil neck geek.
Boy, in my wrestling days, we had a bridge, a neck bridge, and do all this, but in all
talking about from like the WWF days, not the
forget about it.
Yeah, not
in
not
all due
real
respect.
wrestling.
Postol is a good fighter, and I'll tell you what. You look at a fighter who was 28-0 and totally is now humbled by a superior fighter who did rock him a few times.
Now wait a minute. I said on the show when we were breaking this down all week. When I looked at the records, and I happen to have them in front of me, Viktor Postol in the last 3 years, okay, so, going back, it might not even be a full 3 years, honestly, but going back 3 years in like from 2013, he fought 7 fights. Of those 7 fights, there's only 3 that were against, top opposition, and he won all 3, of course. Hank Lundy, Selkirk, Iden, and Lucas Matisse. When you looked at Terence Crawford over the same time period, he fought 9 times, and every one of them was top-notch opposition. And That's
the other factor I brought into the play with my decision.
Everyone,
just better opposition.
Let me finish. Wait, every other one except one of those 9 were world title fights.
I know.
So I mean, he clearly had, the better resume in terms of experience level. But they, some of them were also smaller guys. So, listen, I love Terence Crawford. I would have liked to see him be a little more aggressive. I would have liked to have seen him in the pocket a little more. It didn't seem like Postol was hurting him. I guess he played cautious. He did what he had to do to win. Like we said, a win's a win, right?
A win's a win, like you said. He fought a safe fight, and who knows? Maybe he got caught a little bit with a right there, and he felt a little power he didn't want to taste again. I don't know.
What'd you think of the 2 knockdowns?
They were flash knockdowns, the first one, but that flash knockdown does take you by surprise, and you get up, and your faculties are pretty much with you, and you're fine. But the second one, like I said, he was hurt. He definitely tasted the power of Crawford early, and he really didn't want too much of it. That's why he just followed him around the ring like a puppy dog and didn't really engage too much.
I don't know. In the 5th round, I agree. They were flat. First of all, the first knockdown, he was off balance. He got right back up. He was even surprised they called it a knockdown. The second one, he was off balance again, and his glove touched. So he's down 2 times. Now, if he was hurt, I mean, obviously Terence Crawford could see it in his eyes better than anybody else on the planet. I would think that he would have went after him, but he didn't. So
that's the round I thought he should have. He still had enough time.
A lot of time.
I thought you see, in the chat room I posted after every round something, and I said it looks like Crawford let him off the hook this round. I don't know why, for whatever reason, but I thought Crawford could have jumped on him after he hurt him and put him out, but he didn't.
I thought he started to, like after the 5th round, you seen him getting a little closer. His hands were going. But, that's another thing I noticed, One thing that I love about Terence Crawford is typically he puts together, 4, 5, 6 punch combinations. I didn't see that tonight. I saw 1, 2, 3s, and then he got out of harm's way. So maybe he was giving Viktor Postol a lot of, respect. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen a little more in the pocket from Terence. That's one of the things I love about the kid. But hey, like we said, styles make fights. Opponents dictate how you're going to fight. That arm reach must have been a concern for Team Crawford, and I think they fought that way. I think they fought based on giving up that arm and height reach.
Well, like I said earlier, I think he fought a safe fight, and what I mean by that is, he did everything he needed to do to win, and as long as he was doing what he needed to do to win, he just kept on course. And you know what? Guess what, Bill? We're in the ring. All it would take is one heavy right hand from Postol to turn a fight around. Not that he was capable of doing it. He didn't have that reputation of doing so. But you never know what was going to be ready to be unleashed if Crawford was in a position to be hit. So, when you're in a pocket and you're hitting somebody, you're in a position to be hit. So maybe they gave Postol a little too much respect. I don't know. I can't call that shot, but I could say that a win is a win. He did good. He did a superior boxing display, and that's what won the fight for him tonight. And I give him all the congratulations. He's a great fighter. I'm a fan, and nothing else to be said about that.
Hey, Viktor Postol, he's in his last 3 fights. He won two out of the 3 against good opposition by knockout. So I listen. I think it was a clear case of the guy not knowing how to cut the ring off, Sal. I mean, it boils down to that. One of my hang-ups with the sport today is the fact that it's pretty obvious that we don't have the level of teachers that we used to have in this sport, and it shows when the fighters fight. Something as simple as cutting the ring off. I mean, when did you learn how to cut the ring off? When you fought 100 years ago? When did you learn how to cut the ring off?
You want to know something, Bill? I learned in the amateurs.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in the amateurs you learn, right?
In the amateurs. Every fight. I'm going to tell you something. I won probably my first 10, 11 fights until I was beat. And including I won the Golden Gloves, this and that, and everything else. And the first time I got beat was a fighter. I think we were fighting at, I was just fighting at 100 years ago. I think it was at Garfield High School. Sammy Sanchez was the referee. And we also had Tom Longo, who was a former professional football player, as a ring announcer. I got a picture in a restaurant of that fight. It was very good. And I fought Wilfredo Marcano from Patterson. And he gave me my first defeat because he was a quick guy on his feet, boxing left, right, all over the place. And I was just a heavy puncher, young kid who could punch, take a shot, and didn't do much boxing or moving with my head. I was just aggressive. I was very much in condition, and I was a strong puncher.
Hey, so Sal, we got
this guy.
Hold on one sec. We got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? What's you calling from?
Hey, Billy, this is Alex from Tampa.
Alex from Tampa. What'd you think of the fight, my man?
I thought the fight was pretty good. It was pretty lackluster, but I think just from a technical boxing standpoint, the way I look at boxing, I think Crawford did a tremendous job. But I wanted to point out, or at least piggyback on the conversation about the cutting off the ring. I mean, these guys, they're able to cut off the ring until they get in there with another fighter who has superior footwork, a la Lara, a la Floyd Mayweather, and now a la Crawford. I mean, these guys, they cut off the ring quite well when they're fighting against other fighters, but no matter how well you're able to cut off the ring, once you're in there with someone else like Ray Leonard or Ray Robinson, I mean, that ability that you've learned how to cut off a ring, that goes away. No matter how well you've been taught in the gym and etc., you're not going to be able to cut off the ring on guys who have superior boxing skills and who have that ability to move side to side and get out of the way. Which is why I would like to see maybe a DDG fight someone who has a much higher boxing, like traditional boxing skills, who can move side to side like that. But
Alex,
and I wanted to get Sal's point.
Well, Alex, I will say this: Willie Monroe moves around pretty damn well, and I've seen him fight live several times. And I understand what you're saying, and you're right. I mean, just cutting the ring off of a guy that doesn't move around much is a hell of a lot easier than a guy who does move around. But Sal and I have talked about this many times. Triple G is the best ring general out there, and he has been. You can even go back 20 years, and I don't know another fighter that was as proficient as him cutting the ring off. He's got fighters that are ready to move to the left, and he's already there waiting for them. He knows where they're going to move. So, if anything, yes, that was Viktor Postol's weakness tonight. But I love Terence Crawford, but I thought he should have engaged a little more.
I mean, 20 years, Billy. I mean, we go back to 96. What are you talking about? We got Evander Holyfield. We got Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. You think this guy is in that class of fighter? Like, seriously?
Dude, I think that Triple G
You think he's really? No disrespect. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but are we really putting him in that class? Michael Moorer.
Michael Moorer. Wait a minute. You listen. First of all, we're not talking same division, but Michael Moorer. What can you say that was so great about Michael Moorer, except him winning the title? Mike Tyson, nobody loved Mike Tyson more than me. He was the guy that was coming after you. He had trouble cutting the ring off at times. When people had movement, he was chasing them around at times and stuff. I'm telling you, man, I've been watching boxing for a long time, and I feel I know the sport pretty well. And I'll tell you this, Triple G, I've never seen a guy I'm telling you, 20. When I think about it, I don't even know who else that can anticipate when their opponent is going to move one way and he's already there. It's amazing. And next time he fights, keep an eye on it, and maybe you'll see what I'm talking about.
I mean, even Chavez was fighting in the 90s. Is he in that class as well? I mean, I just don't see it, Billy.
Who fought in the 90s?
Chavez.
No, Sal fought in the late. This Sal Senecola.
No, Chavez.
Oh, Chavez. Oh, Chavez cut the ring. Yeah, okay. Chavez cut the ring off. Of course. Yeah, Chavez. And his prime, no doubt about it. Along those lines, he's along those lines of a Chavez.
But the only point that I wanted to make is, and we can have like civil disagreement. The only point that I was making is that just getting back to, because I know you guys were talking about the cutting off the ring. I just, as far as that's concerned, like you may know how to do something really well. Like you may have a tremendous jab, you may have tremendous ability to cut off the ring. The thing with combat sports and one-on-one competition is that no matter how great you may be able to do that one thing, once you're in there with someone else who has better ability to neutralize what you do, everything that you're able to do can go away at a drop of a dime. You may be hesitant even cut off the ring because the guy may be throwing hard punches at you. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that point, and I'll hang up and listen to the show.
Yeah, Alex, I'll tell you what. You asked me earlier what my thoughts were about
okay.
So some of the cutting off and things there. And you're right. I think even though Postol didn't show he was able to cut off the ring, but he was in the ring with a superior boxing who had the lateral movement. Most of those type of fighters would almost let you think that you are cutting the ring off them, and they'll use it to their advantage and spin you and counterpunch you all day long. So it's a funny ebb and flow when you're in with a superior boxer. You're right. Sometimes you're not able to really cut a ring off on him, or if you think you're cutting the ring off on him, he's going to turn the tide in his favor when you least expect it. So it really is a complete boxer, can really shine in those predicaments. And like I said, Crawford is a good complete boxer. I like him very much.
Yeah, he's a talented fighter. Thanks for the call, Alex. The phone line is open. What is the number? 845-228-8710. And we're going to keep going here for a couple more minutes anyway. But Yeah, I don't know, man. I still think that Triple G is one of the best ring generals out there.
Well,
Sal.
I think he is too, Bill. I think when you look at him, and some of the points that Alex was making, I know what he was saying. When it's harder for a guy who knows how to cut off a ring on a fighter who knows how to move laterally and could offset and make sure that you're having to guess where you're going to go. But because Tarzan knows where Tarzan goes. But the bottom line is, I think that a good boxer who knows how to cut the ring off on another good boxer could still make some advancements if he really used the right footwork, right stepping, right feinting. It's all a matter of putting it all together and bringing it together effectively.
Well, all in all, Terence Crawford did what he had to do tonight, and his punching accuracy once he got the motor running was there. My opinion overall, I don't think that this pay-per-view was worth the money, whether you got it, high def or not. But that's my thoughts. And joining us right now is the one and only John Muskiunis. What's up, John?
John Muskiunis.
Yeah, I got nothing to contribute because I've had like zero sleep in the last week.
John, you and the big RNC, man. I'll tell you, I'm so impressed to hear you.
Yeah, man, I was at Alan Hopper's wife's birthday party tonight, and I was out of there quickly, and I'm sorry, I didn't even get home to watch the fight, so I can't contribute anything to you guys, but I've been involved in Republican stuff for like a whole week, which is crazy.
Know that. How was everything at the RNC?
Well,
while those guys are talking about the RNC, we're going to continue talking about the boxing that this whole post-fight is about. So the bottom line with us is that Terence Crawford looked good, I feel. I'm not so sure that it was a pay-per-view worthy show, in my opinion. I think that not that it was Terence Crawford's fault that the card was not up to par. I think that blame totally has to go to Bob Arum. And no one other than Bob Arum. HBO, of course, approves the fights. But in a nutshell, I think that Viktor Postol came in and didn't have a second plan B. Didn't have an alternate plan. And if Freddie Roach did, he certainly didn't or wasn't able to convey it to his fighter. On the other side, we had Terence Crawford, who seemed to get very comfortable in the fight after the fourth round and followed his corner's instructions and took care of business, didn't do anything, didn't take any chances, and he won the fight, and he unified the junior welterweight title. And like Sal said earlier, he did what he had to do, and he didn't engage as much like we wanted him to do, but hey, he won the fight, and he seemed to have a game plan in place and followed it, and it's something that Viktor Postol didn't seem to do, or his game plan, the original game plan, didn't really work for him. So who knows what's going to bring next time for both fighters. I agree with what Dax Khan said earlier. I think Viktor Postol will be back, and he'll be back at a championship level. And Terence Crawford, the floodgates are going to open for Terence Crawford. He's the front runner for the potential Manny Pacquiao fight in the fall. That he's going to move up. Obviously, in the junior welterweight division, at least in our rankings, he's going to take the number one spot. Because we follow the man who beat the man mentality. And as far as pound-for-pound rankings, a lot of people are going to move him up. So great win for Terence Crawford. Pay-per-view, I don't think it was worth the money, but it is what it is. Hey, don't forget, we air daily. The Billy C. Morning Show. Sal Rocky Senecola joins me for most of the morning shows. And we got Dax Khan stopping by, giving us an update on social media. We do this every single day. We got Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey Athletic Commissioner Larry Hazard stopped by on Wednesdays. Alex Papali. We do one of our longest running segments on the show, which is the Blast from the Past, and we do that on a regular basis, so once a week. So make sure you tune in Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you don't get a chance to watch us live and interact with the show, either calling in or email or chat room, don't worry about it. The show is available up on our YouTube page, which is www.youtube.com/talkinboxing. That's TALKINBOXING. Or you can get it on a podcast. And all of those links and more information can be found on our website, www.billycboxing.com. I want to thank everybody that took the time to call in with their thoughts on the Terence Crawford victory over Viktor Postol tonight on HBO pay-per-view. He won a unanimous decision and is now a unified world junior welterweight champion. So congratulations to Team Crawford. And I hope that you guys tune in Monday morning when we kick off a new week. So until then, thanks for listening, and I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.